welcome back to the Cardman's Cards. I am the Cardman, and today we're going to be going over Gimmick Puppet post ban list. So, or roughly post how was the sentence coming out? Rage of the Abyss. I will not abbreviate that because it's just bad. So, they did get a card in Rage of the Abyss. It is Puppet Shark style. It's a decent card, especially if you're using it early game to dig for hand traps. Detach material from a monster on the field. If you do, execute the top 4 cards of the deck. Choose one to play this effect based on its type. Play the rest on the top of the deck in the same order. Monster spell, add it to the hand. Trap, set it can reactivate this turn. So, basically allows you to mill through your deck a little bit faster if you need to help get hand traps or more combo pieces for your spells. That's the only new thing. A couple of things have changed, so let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the deck. This is just a side card you can inherently run if you so choose. So we still run 3 Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers. It's a Dark Machine, effect 0/0. This card is normal or special summon, setting a monster from your deck with a different level on this card. It becomes that level. Each affecting Gimmick Little Soldiers once per turn, and then you can banish it to target up to 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters you control, increase the level by 4 till the end of the turn. So the same stuff, basically your normal summon Little Soldiers, send Rouge, and then you can banish later on to target something and increase the level. Again, 3 Rouge Doll. Well, I'm sorry, Bloody Doll, not Rouge. No, it is Rouge. Stupid things. It's a level 8 Dark Machine, 414. This card is in your hand. You can reveal it. And when we put monster AC monster from your extra deck, both this card and one game put monster in the same level as the revealed monster rank from your deck. If this card sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step. This card sent to the graveyard except from the hand, you can add it to your hand. And each effect again put Rouge Doll once per turn. For someone from the extra deck this turn, either activate except can put monsters. So it locks you into summon game puppets from the extra deck. You reveal a Ixie monster of a rank, summon it, and then summon itself as summon one from the deck with the same rank. Cattle Scream, a level 8 Dark Machine, 2k, 2k. It is you detach material from this Ixie monster you control. Plus summon this card from your hand or grave at banishment and leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Game Puppet Ixie Cattle Scream once per turn. You can put Ixie monster that uses a card as material. You use this effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster opponent controls opponent graveyard into your opponent's field into fifth position. So it allows you to resurrect something from your opponent's grave if they have anything, which is pretty good and it comes in handy on occasion. Not super useful. And then we have Puppet Bisque Doll, another Dark 8 Machine, 1,000. There's one of this card from your hand by discarding Gimmick Puppet monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot target monsters you control with card effects this turn. Helps to insulate your board, mainly what this one's for. And then lastly, we have Dreary Doll. This is a level 8 Dark Machine, 0/0. If this card's in the grave, you can banish another Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard to summon this card. Each effect again Puppet Dreary Doll once per turn. You cannot be used as material from the Ixie summon except for the Ixie summon of a Gimmick Puppet monster. So basically, you're going to send this. Say you open Cattle Scream and Rouge, but you normally summon Little Soldiers, you send Dreary instead. As you can banish something else to summon. And the last Gimmick Puppet monster we run is Terror Baby, a level 4 machine, Dark, 500. When this card is normal summon, you can target one Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard, except you can put Terror Baby, special summon it in defense position. You banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effect in response to the activation of your Gimmick Puppet monsters this turn. So basically, it allows you to insulate your plays even further while they can't respond to the effects, as Bisque allows you to prevent targeting. That is the last of the puppet monsters. As you can see, there's a few extras. Running one, Crystal Beast, Amber Mammoth. He's a level 4 Earth Beast. His effect really doesn't matter. For the solid effect, you only really run him for in a card. A trap card that allows you to search this field spell along with a Crystal Beast monster. So you have to run a Crystal Beast monster for this to resolve. You can run any Crystal Beast you really want. I run Amber Mammoth because he's funny. Just Amber Mammoth. And he makes weird noises. The hand traps are very light mainly because you're trying to play against your opponent and win as fast as possible. So you're not inherently trying to use the hand traps, you're mainly trying to stop your opponent from hand trapping you. That's why you still run 3 Called By and 1 Called By the Grave. You run a Nibiru if your opponent summons summon 5 more times. Just summon this card and send all face-up cards to the graveyard. 2 Ash if your opponent adds, sends, or summons from monster from deck. Discard this card and get that effect. Draw if opponent adds a card. Discard this card. Can't add for the rest of the turn. Failure, target 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Negate the opponent's face-up card effects during your opponent's main phase. I think that's it for hand traps, other than the 1 Imperm, which is another just target negation, which we'll go over when we get there. And then lastly, we have, not lastly, but next up we have spells. We run a crap ton of spells. There's a few new ones, mainly for other things, but same old, same old. We still run 3 Mansion of the Underworld Dolls. It's an amazing field spell. It's probably one of the best field spells ever printed. When this card is activated, you can put a monster from your deck to your hand. So you add little soldiers. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle and are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters. Except their Ixie monsters. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this Ixie monster you control. Target when you put monster in the graveyard. Special summon it to your opponent's field. In defense position, you only activate 1 Mansion of Dreadful Dolls per turn. So this allows you to get the FTK off successfully with the the limit of dark strings and strings. So easy 3 of. Next up is 3 Condolence Puppet. It's basically Foolish Burial, but more. Allows you to send up to the number of extra monsters your opponent controls +1. And then if you can banish this card, target a monster, Ixie monster you control, Machine Ixie, cannot be destroyed by battle, destroyed by card effects while it face up on the field. And then a new card running is 3 Foolish Burial Goods. You're probably wondering, why are you running Foolish Burial Goods? There's nothing really to run. Well, here's the thing. With the hit of strings and dark strings, you basically need to see field spell to FDK. Before that, just little soldiers was enough. Little soldiers and anything else is basically enough. Now you have to see field spell. You just have to. So, we're running this in conjunction with Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, which, when you see this, is basically send Rainbow Bridge, add your field spell, then add Amber Mammoth. So basically, this is another 3 copies of running field spell. All it does is send a spell trap from the deck to the grave. That's it. That's all Foolish Burial does. Terraforming, add a field spell from deck to hand. Foolish Burial, send a monster, which is pretty good. You can send any monster you want, which most of them are pretty good in the deck. And then we have 2 rank up Urgent Chaos Force. The reason you run 2, especially now, is if your opponent wants to Ash or Valor your Machinex, the little one, you need a way to get this off again, or get another copy. Or your opponent inherently stops this card. Or if you open one, you can't use the additional normal off of Machinex because you have to add it for that to resolve. It's a rank up spell. You target a rank 5 or higher Ixie monster you control. One from your extra deck, 1 number C or CXYZ. Monster is 1 rank higher. By using that monster you control as material, this is treated as an Ixie summon. Transfer material to the summoned monster when a rank 5 or higher Ixie monster is special summoned to your field. All those cards in the graveyard, except during the turn, damage step. Add this card to your hand. You can use each this effect of rank up magic, Argent Chaos Force once per duel. So, it has a resurrection effect at itself back if you summon a 5 or higher. And then you can target any 5 or higher Ixie number monster or a number C monster and rank it up, which is pretty good. 1 Called By the Grave, target 1 monster from its grave. Banishing if you do to the end of the turn. Its effects are negated. It's what the active effects on the field with the same original name, which is fine. You're just turning cards off. And another new card. Everyone's like, "Whoa, what is that card?" It is Melotronus, I think is how you pronounce it. Not 100% sure. It's a quick play spell. You use it for the additional win con that Gimmick Puppet has. They've had it originally. It's just there's no good way to execute it. But now there is. Little Soldiers plus a copy of this is also an alternate win con. Or extension, because this also can be used as an extender. The way it works is you target one face-up non-token monster your opponent controls. Special summon one monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck that has 2 or more of the same type, attribute, or attack, but negate its effects. If you do, negate the targeted monster's effects. Also, after that, if these monsters have the same name, you can banish both face down. We're going to activate the target monster's effects in response to this card's activation. You can only activate one Mellotronus once per turn. So the thing you're using this for is you give your opponent Cattle Scream during your combo, and since all your monsters are Dark Machine and have varying stats, most of them are like 2k above, you can summon Gimmick Puppet number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. So Dark Machine doesn't have any of the same stats to your field, and since you still have a copy of Argent Chaos to use from your third activation, you make number C88 Gimmick Puppet Disaster Leo. Then he has an effect. You can detach a material from this card, inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent during the end phase, and if you do, if your opponent's life points are 2,000 or less, and this card has no material, you win the duel. So it's an alternate win con. So the main reason you're running that, or extension. There's times where I've used this for extender. 3 Call by the Grave, which is an amazing card. Declare one card name, banish one of the declared card on your main deck, and if you do, negate its effects, as well as the activated effects on the field of cards with the same original name until the end of the turn. You only activate one cross-out designated per turn. So say, for example, you activate Dreary Doll in hand to summon from deck, and they ash it. You activate cross-out, call ash, banish an ash, and then summon your cards. Main reason you're running cross-out. Other than particular that, there's no inherent real need for cross-out, but it helps. And the next up are the couple trap cards we're running. We're running Service Puppet Play, which is a puppet trap, so it's searchable off the big XC. You can target monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Gimmick Puppet XC monsters you control. Take control of those monsters until the end phase. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can get you control Gimmick Puppet monster, XC monster. You can banish this card, target one XC monster in either graveyard or summon it to either field. In defense position, you know each effect is separate puppet play once per turn. This allows you to summon your monsters back from grave, while also allowing you to take monsters from your opponent's field, depending on the number of Ixies you control, which is nice. Next up, we have Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. You really never use this card for its secondary effect. I'll go over the full effect just to go over it. There are 2 or more different monster types among the level 10 or higher monsters on the field. Have all cards except this one in both players' hands, fields, and grave into the deck. And each player draws 5 cards. Banish this card from the graveyard. Add 1 Crystal Beast monster and 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. With each effective Rainbow Bridge of Salvation once per duel. So, the whole thing this is to send it off of Foolish Burial Goods to activate its banish effect to add your field spell. Main reason. And then lastly, we have 1 Imperm, mainly just target negation, or for called by targets. Main reason you run it. Let's go ahead and jump into the extra deck. We're running a Barricaded Board Blocker right now, mainly for the fact that you have the room. Since we basically had to cut several cards, and we only ever added 2, there's no... If you want to add like an IP or something, you could, or I've seen some people add Ulti Falcon and use their Banish Darks to rank up that rank up spell. I forget, I think it's like Phantom Knights or something like that. Not 100% sure. I've used it. It's a good card. It's just not inherently useful. Board Blocker is a Link 2 machine, 1000 attack. 2 monsters are different, named with a material. If this card is Link summoned, you discard 1 card during the end phase of this turn. Add 1 continuous or field spell from your grave to your hand. You can only activate this effective Barricade Board Blocker once per turn. Face-up spells you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So this allows you to get your field spells back if you need them, or any continuous spell, which you don't really have any. Just to grab your field spells, basically. Then we have 2 Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll. It's another Link 2 machine, 1500 attack. 2 machine monsters are the materials. During the main phase, if you control a Link summon card, you can activate this card effect. You can also summon from the extra deck except the rest of the turn, except machine Ixies. Also take 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck, either add it to your hand or send it to the grave. And if all monsters you control Gimmick Puppet monsters, no 1, you can special summon 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. You only use this effect Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll once per turn. So, this allows you to basically link your board into him, and then if it's link summoned, you can either add or send a Gimmick Puppet monster from deck, and if you control only Gimmick Puppets, which is basically itself, you can summon one. Gigantes doll, mainly for the additional name of a 4 Ixie. Say you open just Rouge doll, you can reveal a Gigantes doll, summon little soldiers, and Kettle Scream. He does have an interesting effect. He's a rank 4 machine, so that's the main reason you run him. He's dark, 0 attack, 2000 defense. 2 level 4 Gimmick Puppet monsters, so it's a little bit harder to make, but it has a pretty cool effect. You can detach 2 materials from this card and target up to 2 monsters opponent controls. Gain control of them until the end phase. Also, for the rest of this turn, you can summon monsters except Gimmick Puppet monsters, nor declare an attack except with Ixies. You contribute this card. All monsters you currently control become level 8 until the end of this turn. You only each effect of Gigantes doll once per turn. So, the main thing that you can do with this, if you can get 2 4s on the board, like say you normal summon Terror Baby after the negate or destroy little soldiers, you can summon back to little soldiers, go into Gigantes doll, take 2 of your opponent's monsters, make him turn them into 8s, and then start your combo that way. Again, that's a possibility. You don't have to. It's just interesting that you can. Next up, we have 2 Giant Grinder. Again, you have the additional space, so why not run 2? You originally only ran 1 because it just came up from the end. But now, since you have the additional space, go ahead and run the second one. Number 15, Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder. Dark, rank 8 machine, Ixie 1527. Up to twice per turn during your main phase, you can detach 1 material from this card. Target on summon monster your opponent controls. Destroy it if an Ixie, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So, this is why you need your field spell, because your field spell can summon any you can put monster from your grave to their field. So you summon one of your Ixies to their field and just use Giant Grinder to blow it up. And then you rank up into its evolution, which is a card we'll get to momentarily. Then we have Gimmick Puppet Fantastics Machinex. It's a dark, rank 8 machine, 1531. 2 level 8 monsters. You can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand. So any rank up, just in case you want to use the Phantom Knight's rank up. You can normal summon machine monster during your main phase in addition to the normal summon set this turn. It's effective once per turn. If a special summon of a Gimmick Puppet Ixie monster except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Either in defense position, you can add 1 rank up spell from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effective Gimmick Puppet Fantastics Machinex once per turn. So in short, it allows you to add a rank up spell, gain additional normal, and then if you summon any of your other high ranked Ixies, you can summon this back and then grab back the rank up magic you use. Now, the sad card we had to lose is Puppet of Strings, a rank 8, 3k, 2k. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material on this card, place 1 string counter on all face-up monsters opponent control, except this card. Once per turn during the next end phase of your opponent, the player who's placed the string counters by this effect, destroy the monster with string counters, and if you do, inflict under 500 points, 2 damage for each monster destroyed. It's mainly just placing them that you want. You don't inherently care about the additional effect. So what you're going to end up doing is ranking them up into Dark Strings. We already gone over Puppet. Oh no, not Puppet of Leo. We'll go ahead and go over it real quick. It's a rank 8 Dark Machine, 1223. Once per turn, if you have no cards in your spell and trap zone, detach 1 material, X material from this card. If you do, place 1 Destiny counter on this card. You're going to conduct your battle phase this turn, and this card's effect is activated. If 3 Destiny counters are on this card, you win the duel. A secondary win con for this line, but it's never going to come up. I guarantee you it won't. And lastly are the big ones. We have C15 Giant Hunter, Dark Ixie 2515. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. If it was a monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So here's the big winner: is what you do is make Giant Hunter pop Cattle Scream, and you just burn your opponent that way. Next up, we have CXYZ Gimmick Puppet Fantastics Machinex. It's a little rank 9 dark machine, 3115. If this card is special summon, add one puppet trap from your deck to your hand. You can detach material from this card. Special summon one monster from either grave to your opponent's field in defense position. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can target one of them, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack. Each effect of CX Gimmick Puppet Fantastic Max once per turn. And then lastly, we have number C40, Dark Strings. He's a dark rank 9 machine, 33 2K. If this card is special summoned, destroys many monsters with string counters as possible, and if you do, draw one card. Then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack of those destroyed monsters in the grave. Your choice if tied. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card to place one string counter on each face-up monster your opponent controls. So you mainly want to use this in tandem with strings to place a bunch of string counters on it, on the field. And then you blow them up with dark strings and draw cards, which is nice. Right? Yeah. And then lastly, we have number 88, C88, Union Puppet Disaster Leo. Must be used with a rank up magic spell targeting number 88, Puppet of Leo. The player can target this card on the field with card effects. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card. Inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. During the end phase, if your opponent has 5 points or 2,000 or less, and this card has no materials, you win the duel. It's a secondary win con. Sorry. Tertiary. This one comes up way more often than the regular Leo one. But yeah. Some additional cards you could run. Other copies of Hand Traps. Skullmeister if you so inclined for Ubel or whatever. You can also run Scissor Arms. It's inherently not a bad card. It's not great. This card is normal summoned. You can send one Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to the grave, which helps with all the extenders you have now. But inherently, when we get the promo card, I forget what it's called, like Nightmare Knight or something like that. I don't know. It's inherently just a better copy of this guy. So I would inherently run it. But I think that is it for the time being. So I do believe that's it. This is Gimmick Puppet post Rota, sadly. Reinforcement of the Army. Not rearrangement, I don't want to abbreviate it. Rage of the Abyss. There we go. And until next time, this has been the Cardman's Cards. This has been Gimmick Puppet. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Keep collecting. Bye.